Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Routledge History of Literature in English part 90. So let's dive in the world of literature. Toni Harrison's writings are often set in his home county of Yorkshire, as in 5 from 1985 to 1988 uses colloquial forms, natural speech and local dialect in perfectly scanning rhymes to explore matters like education and class. The letter 5 stands for verses, punning on verses, and the traditional 5 for victory. The poem was written during the miners' strike of the mid 1980s. The Gaze of the Gorgon in 1992, a long poem for television written in the wake of the Gulf War. He is also an accomplished translator, especially from classical Latin and Greek. A kumquat for John Keats in 1981 finds the fruit to celebrate the famous poet. Then he also wrote U.S. Marshall in 1981, punningly transposes the Latin epigrammatist Marshall into 1980s New York. The Pomegranates of Patmos Marshall from the 1992 volume The Gaze of the Gorgon. Lines are also given in the book. Do read the lines of the poem. Few modern poets are as observant as Harrison about class or about how speech reflects class. Them and Us, phonetic rendering, recalls his school days. Later, the poem Why, the initial stands for the cheapest form of airline travel, shows the same perception on a flight across the Atlantic, and lines are also given of the poem. Do read the lines. Toni Harrison refused to be considered for the appointment as Poet Laureate after the death of Ted Hughes and wrote polemically about it, describing the role as rat-catcher to a present queen. His most recent collection takes its title from the text Laureate's Block and Other Occasional Poems in 2000. Women poets, after the emotionally charged verses of Sylvia Plath, have tended to mix emotion with humor, passion with acute observation, penetration with pleasure rather than pain. Jenny Joseph, Anne Stevenson, U.A. Fanthrope, and Scottish-born Carol Ann Duffy are particularly noteworthy. Ursula Fanthrope's volumes include Safe as Houses in 1995 and Consequences in 2000. Then Carol Ann Duffy's poem A Valentine, few lines are given of the poem. Do read it. Her collection of poems representing female voices through the ages, The World's Wife in 1999, was a critical and popular success. Of the younger generation of women poets, the Scottish-born Jack Kay, who wrote memorably about being adopted in the Adoption Papers in 1991. Then comes Kathleen Jamie. She wrote The Way We Live in 1987. Then comes London-born Lavinia Greenlaw. She wrote A World Where News Travelled Slowly in 1997, bids fair to become one of the most widely anthologized poems of its decade. Wendy Cope has reached a wide audience with a form of witty and pungent light verse such as Making Cocoa or Kingsley Amis in 1986. Stevie Smith is something of an outsider. She wrote spare, inventive, often humorous verse with a particular emotional weather between the words, as Seamus Heaney put it. She is a compassionate observer of the modern tragedy of isolation, memorably in the much anthologized poem Not Waving But Drowning in 1975. Her collected poems was published in 1975. Lines from the poem Not Waving But Drowning are given in the book. Do read the lines. And if you have any doubts or query, you can ask me in the comment section below, or you can even message me in the social media IDs that are given below in the description box. So that's all for this video. Thank you and signing out.